Hello, guys. Good day. This is Anna for Reinforce Me Club. Today, we are going to talk about how Filipinos cope with recession. So, now I'm already 30 plus. I have found out that since the day I was born, we have already gone through several sorts of recessions in the Philippines. I just didn't understand it way back that time because I was too young. And it impacts us on our mental well-being and our emotional resiliency. So I'd say resiliency because as you can see, when you go to Philippines right now, in the midst of the tough times, prices of the commodities are hiking, education, everything is expensive based on the salary rate in the Philippines. Everything has gone up. We could hardly survive, but you can still see people smiling, laughing, singing in the karaoke bar, dancing, talking to the neighbors. Like, there's no such hassle that is going on. I mean, is there really a financial crisis here? So you could even ask yourself why Filipinos are still happy amidst of the recession. Whatever kinds of recession is that. Now, today I am going to unfold the 8 smart ways on how Filipinos manage their finances amidst of the national recession. Or it could be economic recession or global crisis. We can manage that in our own loving way. So here's number 1. Filipinos budget and prioritize expenses. So we create budget and we stick to it, especially in crucial times like this time, tough times, tough economic times. Filipinos do prioritize essential expenses such as food, utilities, healthcare, while cutting back non-essential spending. So we can still manage to have no new phones in a period of over 5 years. So we stick on the same phone, even though there's a lot of cracks on our phone. We still have those phones because we prioritize our essential needs. We don't necessarily go on holidays outside the country. As Filipinos, our vacation is just merely changing the setting. We change the setting by going on the beach together with the family on Sundays. That's already a vacation. That's already a holiday for us. Or going or visiting a family member outside the town and then go back in the nighttime or the following day or 2 to 3 days visiting a family member and enjoy their place. That's already a pretty simple holidays for us Filipinos. Because we do that because we prioritize our food on the table and in the most part education for the kids. I could also say that Filipinos do just have something. We're quite contented on something just to get by. Every time our salary comes to our bank account, 1 or 2 days that's already zero. Some of us do that because we have, some of my friends in the Philippines, they have a couple of debts just to get by. We live in the rat race. But even though life is like that, they can still sing. They can still manage to go to their neighbor and chill. People are different. I know I believe that there's no such thing as a good and a bad. It's just that we suffer on the consequences of our decision. And if we don't learn from those consequences, well, it's up to us. And then we continue to suffer. The downside of our decisions, it's, I wouldn't say that it's wrong. It's our choice. So that is why, even though some Filipinos do live in the rat race, like just having something, just enough money to get by, some of the budget were paid or were allotted to the debts. Yeah, we're still happy. And look, I'm not saying that this is not true, because when you go to the Philippines, you will see people smiling at you, especially when you're a foreigner. And when you ask them about financial problems. They can mention all the problems that they have. But look at them. They are genuinely smiling at you. That's how resilient Filipinos are. And of course, we budget. We even plant vegetables on the back garden so that we can use them. We raise native chickens and hogs in case of emergency. In case of, we are planning to celebrate the festivals, we just use those native chickens. And then that's already a good enough celebration for us. Just one chicken. And to other countries, that's just an ordinary day to them. But in the Philippines, when it's festival and you're preparing for food, regardless of the amount of food or the amount of money that you spend on that food, it doesn't really matter. But we are thinking about it as already a celebration, a great big deal. It's already a great day for us. That's the simplicity of our mindset. And some of us, like my dad, he sells unused newspapers and plastics to the junk shop, so that he can pay the bills from the money, from the profit of the sold papers and plastics. He can pay the bills to that, and he can increase his savings to fund me and my education. His only one and only daughter. Now, the second thing that we Filipinos do in order to manage our finances, manage ourselves in spite of the global crisis, national crisis, is we increase our savings and emergency funds. So we set aside money for emergencies, especially during this recession, and we increase our contributions to our pensions and savings account. So most of my OFW friends here, overseas Filipino worker, their finances are kind of allocated on those insurance policies in the Philippines. So they have pension plans. Other than that, they have money for allocated from that pension plan in case of emergency. And a percentage of that money, it's on the same insurance policy, is already been allocated buying bonds, government bonds or stocks. So some of the OFW are busy buying those insurance policies for pension and for buying stocks. And we also, one of our favorite nowadays to increase our savings is the Pag-ibig Fund, MP2. So that's actually, as of this moment, it is well managed. But we have to, when you invest on something, you have to look after your investment if the company is doing well. So Pag-ibig Fund has been backed by the Philippine government, so I'd say it's safe unless it is mismanaged. So at the moment, yes, it's good, but you still need to look after your investments just in case if everything mess up. And in the most part, though, as an expat, a minority in another country, Filipinos do reduce spending in order to build big savings. Big savings for our retirement, for ourselves in the future, other than sharing a part of our money to our families in the Philippines. So we reduce spending in order to build savings. And number 3 is Filipinos explore additional sources of income. So for example, some of my friends here, they do so much overtime, and I even do, overtime for extra money if I wanted to buy something, because I don't want to touch my savings at times. Some of my friends, they have side gigs or freelance work. They are in Upwork, Freelancer, Fiverr to find side hustles for web designs, programming, social media management. So some of my friends, they do specialize in that, and they're good at that. They make a couple of bucks, huge bucks from those from that platform. So yeah, but as to my dad before, the classic ways Yeah, he did sold plastics and unused newspapers to the junk shop. So I was the one cleaning up the plastics and then pile it in a big bag so he can just deliver it to the junk shop and then weigh it and he can get the profit, the money. Because those plastics and newspapers will be recycled. So our home is quite uh, just a distant away from that those companies who are doing recycling. So yeah, my dad and I were part of that, but in the most part, just my dad. He's good at making side hustles and additional income. Well, I'd say way back before when I was still in college, my dad had two jobs to raise me, to fund my education. And right now he's chilling because he's done his responsibilities. And I think is for that reason I could say that he's the best dad in the world though. Just like every parents, they're doing their responsibilities. And yeah, thank you, Dad. So even even my cousins now they have they have two jobs. Some of them they do work overtime for extra money. And number four, Filipinos do seek financial assistance and relief programs from the government or from non-profit organizations. So in the midst of difficulties, financial difficulties, they can always go to a bank for loans, emergency loans, and especially for example in Pag-ibig, so they have a emergency fund for calamity loans, so different sorts of products for uh, emergency fund. Other than Pag-ibig, banks have also could also offer some products for in terms of emergency loans, and the cooperative banks, the community banks in the Philippines, they also offer this services, emergency loans, and most Filipinos, yeah, they take advantage to this. Other than the money that's been given by the political parties for assistance. For example, in during COVID, so the Filipinos were able to get financial assistance from the some politicians and even from the government itself. COVID COVID allowance. Now, other than that, number five, Filipinos do invest wisely and diversify their portfolios. So Filipinos do consider investing in low risk options such as government funds or diversified mutual funds, especially mutual funds because that's the safest. The safest. Although we pay capital gains from that, and sometimes the money could go down if the stocks go down, or the money could go down in mutual funds if uh, a portion or a large population of people will be pulling out their funds from the same company, mutual funds. That's why the stocks, the value of the stocks that you're buying of your portfolio will go down because like for millennials, huge populations of millennial will withdraw our money from a certain company, so that could decrease the value of our money. So it's we are all connected. And other than that, well, some Filipinos do build businesses too: laundry business, gasoline stations, real estate, housing, and of course, some of my friends here, they buy stocks. They buy low and sell high. So just two options. So for me, I'm not sure I could able to work out in this two options, but some people do love it. Me, I want to win. I don't want to have two options only or one option. I think buy and sell stocks, buy low, sell high. I think there's only one option to win that game. Just as long as you buy low and then you sell high in time. So I'm not sure if that's gonna happen because sometimes it takes a period of time for it to really. Sometimes you buy low and then after a couple of months it even gets lower. So you have to wait. You have to wait and you don't know till when. So for me, I'm not sure if it works for me because I do value time well. That's why I love properties. So some of my friends, it works on them and they love it. And yeah, OFWs are good. One great uh, group of people or a population who buys real estate, pre-sale or turnkey properties for investment or for family needs. So Filipinos do invest wisely and diversify their portfolios. Some of the Filipinos, they build their own lending banks. So they raise money. So I know a person who did this. They raise money and then they build a bank with a few employees at the moment, and they lend money to people getting the interest rate every month. They only need to take their ATMs. I'm not sure. And then they have collaterals out from their loans. So that's one of the thriving business even before in the Philippines. So some Filipinos invest in that businesses. Number 6 is Filipinos do seek social support. We are best in that. That matter of fact, that is our talent. We seek social support. We connect with family, friends, and support groups, or even with loved ones, to provide emotional comfort and reassurance during recession. We share our experiences and concerns with loved ones to foster our sense of solidarity and reduce feeling of isolation. So, since we all live in the Philippines, in terms of financial crisis, we share the same problems. So whenever we talk about money to our loved ones, to our close friends, they can immediately relate. So there goes the saying, which is misery loves company. So we share the same problems there. We can relate to each other. Some of us just go to church. Some of us, they simply just go to the neighbor and talk about the weather, talk about the day, talk about the problem, anything under the sun. And that's already a stress reliever for us Filipinos. We don't necessarily go to therapists because we don't even have enough budget to pay a therapist or psychologist for that. We just learn to get by, and the church is the cheapest way to really give out our problems to God. And then after that, it helps us move on. I even do that before. Taking exams, trying to really, when I'm frustrated, I go to church. I didn't even know if the existence of therapists. I know that there is a psychologist in the school, which I didn't avail, and I don't know if that really works. But when by the time I came to a Western country, and there are therapists, counselors, for psychological counselors, I I just happen to know about them, which is true. Yeah, to be honest, because way back in the Philippines, I haven't. Yeah, I only the only time I know when I was in the Philippines that you have to go to a therapist is that when you are when you're having a disability. Otherwise, when you're healthy, there's no time to go to the therapist, or there's not even a budget for that. So I'm glad I happen to know that here in a Western country. But the cheapest way is to talk it out to your trusted friends. Number 7 is Filipinos do set realistic goals and expectations. So amidst of the financial crisis, economic crisis in the Philippines, prices are hiking all commodities, education, food, whatever, everything we use, even the bus fare, jeepney fare, uh, everything has gone up. So amidst of the frustrations and disappointments during the recession, which happens, I don't think I think we're immune to that. We set goals. So some of our goals could be to sustain the education, to give our kids a good education, to let them finish college, and we are willing to sacrifice for that. Well, I could say that I'm not a parent yet. But I'd say it. As what I've learned from my dad. We don't really buy a lot when I was in college. We don't buy new stuff. Yeah, absolutely 100%. We don't have anything new. We only had a new television from my savings. My dad prioritized me. So his goal is to help me finish college so he can chill. Which actually happened though. He's already retired now and he's chilling in the farm. So while I was in my 20s, some of my friends, they actually took advantage of that the courses from the Department of Labor. So massage, how to build a salon, how to cut hair, how to be a beautician. So the Department of Labor have those free courses, and you can always avail them. And some of my friends, they go to school for agricultural, have government connected agricultural courses, which is almost free. And when by the time that they finish the courses, they have a few experience in the Philippines, and they were able to manage to go to New Zealand. Some of them they go to Ireland. Some of them they went to UK and Australia for a job, agricultural job. Even botanists, we have the best school for plants and veterinarians. So set realistic goals. So these side has hustles, side income. We do this in order to survive the crisis. And we even explore alternative career path. So one of my friends, yeah, she finished nursing. Since the salary of a medical representative is better, she gets better salary, better money in as a medical representative than being a nurse. She chose to be a nurse. I mean, sorry, a med rep, medical representative. She quit nursing. And some of my friends, they became teachers. So they turned out to be teachers, not a nurse. So they took a course for education, and they did teach. So explore career path which pays better. So it's more on practical reasons now. Practical reasons. That's why we go to school. And having this practical mindset, we were able to adopt and thrive in the midst of crisis with a positive mindset and celebrate small victories, which is good enough to motivate us and keep us optimistic amidst of the economic challenges. So Filipinos do value education, although this modern times, you know, going to school and finishing college, I don't think it could be. It's a practical. It's practical nowadays, unless there's an exception. If you're planning to be a doctor, a surgeon, an engineer, or if you're planning to venture uh, to be well off and really good in finance, you really need to go to school in order to build good networks. So when you are in a good school, you'll be able to meet the your classmates who's from rich families, who owns a big businesses, who has a father in a big company. So you need those networks in order to to have a good future in your good corporate position in the future. So you need to link with those people, those rich people, those well-off people. So that's why you need to go to school. Otherwise, to be honest, I've known people who haven't finished college, but they are richer than those people who finish college. And when you go to college and finish your a degree, it's not necessarily that you're going to have a job based on your degree. Your job could be something else. So that is why I'd say that going to college you have to weigh things out. How much is your ROI when you go to college? You have to be a professional student now. It's already crisis, recession. So you have to get serious in making decisions, especially you are going to spend time in a certain course. You have to pick the right course with a good ROI, return of investment from that course. Otherwise, if you're going to college for a secretary in the Philippines or just anything ordinary, I I don't think it's still necessary to go to college unless you're planning to be a big time and you're serious about your ROI from your time and money in going to college. You have to weigh things out. How much is the return of investment from your course? So, like for example, nursing. If you don't climb in a corporate world as a nurse, if you don't have any position in a hospital, I'm not sure if the ROI could be worth it in the first few years as a nurse, working as a nurse in the Philippines, because you know, nursing is costly in the Philippines. But if you're planning to go abroad, yes, you could finally feel and realize the ROI. But other than nursing, you have to weigh things out if there is a return of investment from your course. If you're planning to be a teacher, well, yeah, it takes that's a whole lot of passion. So you have to weigh things out, before you go to college, and you have to pick the right course which suits you. And I'm not saying that Filipinos must be business builders, must build businesses, but you know, education doesn't necessarily solve poverty. Education is not the solution for the hardship and the financial crisis of the country. We must learn how to manage our money well. And always remember that it's not about the salary. It's not about how big your salary is. It's about where you spend your salary and how you manage it well. And that's how you're going to grow financially. I mean, yeah. Financial knowledge, financial intelligence, that can help you out with the amidst of the poverty that you're into. So it's all about wealth management, money management, not necessarily education. And lastly, number 8, Filipinos do engage in meaningful activities and hobbies to forget about the problems, this recession, the climbing prices of the commodities. So we do, yeah, painting, cooking, gardening. We even have time to volunteers. So as you can see, those dancers and Zumba instructors, you can see them early morning and late afternoon, late evening, on the park. That's a free charge. That is their hobbies. That's how they give back to the world. So they're training people for free, and that's volunteering too. And Red Cross has also some volunteers. I'm not sure this time, but in my time they had volunteers, and people could still manage to do volunteering in spite of the crisis. And engaging in these meaningful pursuits nurtures creativity, boosts self-esteem, and foster the sense of purpose. Now, let me drink this water. Sorry about that. Now, amidst of this crisis, you can still see Filipinos on TikTok, Facebook. They tend to become influencers. They're not necessarily rich. You can, all the Philippine setting has been exposed on social media, and they make good. They can able to manage to make money out from social media, no matter how small it is. So that's one way for Filipinos to make money and to have fun, engage in meaningful activities, to laugh out their problems, to make a parody, to create a prank in the midst of poverty. And it's not. It turns out that it's not about poverty. It's about happiness, having fun, and just laughing out on our problems, And you can even hear out Filipinos singing in karaoke's. There's a song called "Tawanan lang ang problema." Laugh out on your problems. So you can hear we just sing our hearts out, sing our problems out. The nighttime before we go to work, and after work we sing again in our karaoke. And if you try to live in the Philippines Airbnb, you can hear people singing, and that's one way of how we relieve our stress. How to forget about the problems. We just sing our hearts out, regardless of what kind of voice do we have. I mean, it's the neighbor's problem, and we do understand each other. As I've said, yeah, we share the same problems, and we get along with each other well. We were able to implement these 8 strategies, and we do utilize available resources that we have in the Philippines. All sorts of side hustles, we do it in order to survive, in order to get by. That could not be the best way in the world, but we were able to manage it. We lived life to the fullest in our own way in the Philippines, and we enjoy life. Those problems have toughened us to the point that those problems has given up on us. So that's how it works in the Philippines. It's just you just live your life as best as you can. And through this 8 ways Filipinos can navigate through recession with resilience and financial stability at the best of our ability. Now, I hope that you like this message today, and if you ever do, just you can share it to your family and friends. You can follow me in Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I'm also in YouTube Podcast. Help me spread the good news. Let us help each other globally. And by the way, this is Annie of Reinforce Me Club. I do appreciate your time and have a lovely day ahead. Thank you once again.